Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Yasmine Flores, and I'm an associate professor of music here at EPCC. Welcome to another episode of The Arts at EPCC. And today, my guest is a great friend, a wonderful colleague, an amazing human being, Mr. Daniel Becker from the music department. Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Daniel, first of all, I want to tell everyone that we're so excited that you are finally a lecturer with us. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So, first of all, how long have you been with the college?
Ooh, it's been a while. This February would have been 10 years full-time as the lab assistant, but it goes back even further, part-time as a lab aide and a work study. So almost 20 years, I'd say.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
so it's kind of crazy, full circle.
I know. And so one of the jobs that I have here at the college is to help coordinate the faculty workshops. And at the very beginning of the week on Tuesday, we have our new faculty orientation. And so it's kind of crazy to see you walk in, right?
Yeah, it was nice.
And the look on your face was the look of just a very proud lecturer now. So Daniel, tell us a little bit, let's kind of do a small recap of everything that's happened in the music department in the past year. Right, so we got our two new degrees, our music business and audio engineering.
So it's been a thing in a long run. As you know, you've been an incredible support, but this last year we got officially approved to start our music business and audio engineering and a certificate in music technology. So we just started this semester, and so far it's been great. We have 2 full sections of audio engineering.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, that's so terrific, and it helps my class that I teach the music theory, and so it was booming at the beginning. There was like, wow, really incredible to see how many people are really interested in these degrees. The vast majority of them now are going on those tracks. So you're teaching the music business course. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the one that we're doing so far is called Survey to the Music Business, and it's basically like an overview of all the different roles and positions, and just in general how the music industry works. One of the cool assignments that I'm having them do over the course of the semester is basically building their own record label, like a simulation.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So that's been really fun. We're already kind of getting along with that. A lot of it too is just fun, like studying how the different roles that are available to students, like if they wanted to pursue being a music producer, working for a label, being a manager, different things like that. So it's really a kind of broad overview of the music industry, and honestly, I'm learning a lot too. It's really cool.
Right. Yeah. The first year you teach, it's always like being thrown into the deep end, and you're like, what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So I remember that. I mean, I'm old enough now. It was over a decade ago when I got started. But so that's amazing. And so now audio engineering, what do you do in that class?
Audio engineering is kind of the idea of the art and science of capturing a recording, like using microphones, using external audio processing gear. So recording, mixing, mastering, the idea of really capturing a performance. So using the best tools that we have to capture something really well, just kind of like these young gentlemen doing for us in our TV show, but we're doing it for music records.
Right, that's amazing. So you teach them different microphones?
Yeah.
Probably different speakers, maybe?
Yeah, we learn the basics, the fundamentals of how this stuff works and how we can best capture for any artist, or whether it's themselves or for someone else. So that's awesome. And I mean, even a novice, even somebody that is not necessarily going to go into those 2 degrees could benefit from these classes. Definitely. I have a few students that aren't necessarily interested in working in a studio. They're doing it more for their own benefit, as being an artist, to say. So they can have the ability to produce themselves, if that makes sense. So,
I should probably audit that class, because I'm telling you, I put everything in the hands of a professional, right? When I've gone to record, and I've had some wonderful experiences. Sonic Ranch was a wonderful experience. I think his name is Mario or Marco over there.
Marco, yeah.
Okay, Marco. Yeah, really sweet guy. He let my mother pick up pecans.
Oh, nice.
Off the ground.
Oh, that's a beautiful place out there. Yeah.
It is. It is incredible. And so I had no idea what they were doing, though. I just kind of trusted, like, okay, you're going to hang the mic. Sounds good. And I'm just going to start playing. Sounds good. You know, I have no idea. And so you do feel a little vulnerable in that respect, because you're like, I don't know what I'm paying for, but hopefully it turns out okay. So that's really awesome. Now, your degree is in audio production.
Well, it's a Bachelor of Science in Music Production, which is kind of a weird in-between of music composition and audio engineering. So the technical aspects, and also learning how to produce and write music and all that kind of thing. So
that's awesome.
Kind of have like a in-between, music composition and audio engineering.
Okay, very cool. And so in MIDI class is still being taught by Billy Towns, and he teaches them probably a few compositional techniques in there as well.
Definitely.
And so they create a product. They go to your class, audio engineering. They learn more about the logistics, right, of the microphones and everything else. Sound. What is that thing called? The soundboard. Okay.
Console,
right?
A few things,
and then they put together a polished product. At the end of the semester, they have a showcase of all these different products, or I should say projects. And so they performed. It was about a year ago or so that they had quite a few recordings, and it's so fascinating what these students come up with, right?
I'm surprised all the time. Like, I'm kind of blown away by the talent and just the drive of some of these students. And I kind of show them, what's possible, and they come back and show me something that I wasn't even expecting. So it's kind of it's my pleasure to work with some of the students that we've had that they always surprise me. So
I know. Nice. Yeah, they're full of creativity, and that is something I'll always say about our students, is that I'm never bored. Right?
Same. Yeah.
And so that's really awesome. Now, Daniel, I'm going to ask you, where do you see yourself? Maybe this is too early of a question, too early to be asking this, but where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Well, 10 years ago, I certainly didn't see myself
here
being a instructor, and I'm really thankful and lucky to be put in this position. So I'm not sure where I'll be in 10 years, but I've been a part of EPCC for so long, it feels like it's my second home. So I hopefully would still be here, maybe on a tenure track, but we'll see, one step at a time.
Right, exactly. Well, I hope you're already tenured by that time. So that's really wonderful, Daniel. Now, let's talk a little bit about application process for those people that are out there interested in these programs. You all know to do the Apply Texas. If you don't know that, do the Apply Texas, okay? Type in applytexas.org, and that's going to take you to the college application website. So that's to apply to any college in the state of Texas. There is going to be a question that's going to ask you which colleges should receive your application, and you should pick El Paso Community College, as well as any other colleges that you might be interested in. And we will receive your application, and we will start the process. The counselors now know to contact us, and we'll advise you. I'm the faculty advisor for the music department, and so I'll gladly go through the classes with you, and depending on part-time, full-time, we can start to piece together your schedule for spring, and spring or fall. So registration always starts in about the middle of the semester for those 2 semesters. For fall, it starts about October 1st, and for spring, it's actually April 1st. It gives us a little more time before fall, obviously. And spring, let's see here. Spring also has the summer registration. And you can take, let me ask you this, you might already know, are we offering anything in the summer on those classes?
I'm not sure yet. I'm hoping they'll at least offer possibly the part 1, so we can get people going, but I'm not sure yet. It's kind of still tentative being built as we speak.
Okay, awesome. Keep an eye out on that, because I know for sure we offer Music Appreciation American Music, right? And American Music is the course for audio engineering.
I think so.
Yes. That's the course that the path that we wanted everyone to follow. And so if you're on the regular, we still have the regular degree. We still have the Associate of Arts in Music. That one, we recommend the Music Appreciation course. Yeah. So those 2 courses you can take in the summer. You can take anytime, except for wintermester, as far as I know. We don't offer it winter. We want a break too. Right. we want to rest, right? So that's really awesome, Daniel. And so tell us a little bit. So right now we're offering all the part 1s, right? And so we're building the part 2s for spring.
Yep.
And so what's on the horizon for spring?
Well, there'll be part 2 of audio engineering, which will be expanding on the first section. What's cool about these way these are designed is if someone doesn't know that they want to get the associate's degree, they can try to take the certificate, which is basically the first part of it. So not necessarily committing to the first 2 years for sure, but maybe if they want to dip their toes in and kind of see how it is, they can try to take the certificate, and if they really like it and they want to keep going, they can keep going for the associate's degree.
That's right.
A lot of options. I think it's good for students that maybe don't know exactly what they want to do and they just want to try it out. I think it's a good option for them. So
that's right. And that music technology degree is the first half of the audio engineering degree. So if you're just wanting to kind of dabble a little bit and just, as he's pointing out, give it a try, it's just 1 year. It's a 1-year certificate, and then you can say, "Oh, look, I have a paper," right? and so as far as now, these 2 tracks, they share some courses, right? So audio engineering has the music business course, and then music business has
audio engineering 1, I believe.
Okay, awesome.
Which I'm trying to make a very broad, fundamental, get something out of it no matter what your final degree is. As far as getting a broad overview of how things work and being able to produce things yourself, even if you're not an audio engineering major per se. So just offering people like a really broad foundational for this first one. And then as we go, it's going to build up on that and be more specialized. So I'm thinking for audio engineering 3 and 4, it's going to be concentrating in mixing and mastering, which are the final steps in producing music. So this first one is really kind of a broad overview. We do cover mixing and mastering a bit, but those 3 and 4 are going to be very specialized and very intensive as far as that goes.
That's awesome. Here's a random question.
Sure.
So could we as a college have our own record label?
Yeah, I guess we could definitely put out records. We might be able to start a nonprofit record label, which would be cool. Yeah.
Because I think back, and I won't say names, right? But there are some singers that we've had and little pop artists, right?
Definitely.
That some of which have even been on the show. Moises Seco has been on the show.
He's a great student.
Yeah, he's a wonderful student, and I've listened to some of his tracks because when he came on the episode, he told me about how he sells his music like through YouTube, right?
Yeah, he's also one of you would call him a beat maker, right? For like hip hop and rap and kind of thing, and he's kind of going into that field where you can make beats for other people and lease them out for rappers to rap over, which is it's a whole nother hustle, but I admire that. He's trying to be entrepreneurial.
Yes, absolutely.
That's one of the many outlets that you can do for music production.
Okay. And I mean, when you say that, I had never even thought of that because most rappers, they're so concerned more about the lyrics, right? And just like, I don't know, turn something on, right?
Or they'll just grab something off YouTube, which that's not always the smartest way, especially if you're actually trying to, copyright or do things that, you would want to have the rights to your music. So
that's right.
That's a big part of it is not necessarily ripping off people from YouTube, making your own, or hiring an actual producer to make those things. So that's what Moises is trying to do, is kind of offer his services to other people.
Okay. That's
cool.
smart. Yeah. And then there's we've had students, and I'm thinking back 5, 6, 7 years, who one in particular that stuck in my mind is she had such an incredible voice, and I thought surely she's going to get a label somewhere, but I think what happens is that in the past we've been able to kind of give them just the basics, but then we hadn't really been able to give them something beyond that,
Yeah.
right? And so then they would finish the degree, and they didn't want to go down the traditional path, which was, to go to the 4-year.
Yeah.
So then they just kind of got stuck in what they were doing. And so we would love to see a lot of those folks back
Yeah,
to
definitely.
come and do the new degree. And then, start putting something together. So I'm going to put that little nugget in your head, Daniel.
Yeah, for sure. Grab some of those older students that got a little taste of it, but didn't get the full.
Yeah, absolutely, and also a label.
Yeah.
If we could somehow produce some of these recordings, because they're really good, and you do a stunning job. So a little bit of what you do, because I know Daniel doesn't like to brag about himself, so I'll brag for him. Is that you come in on the weekends sometimes and record the students.
Well, sometimes that's the only time that's available. Hopefully that will change now. We're almost done building our own recording studio.
That's right.
Glenn Leffler and Des Arnold are doing an awesome job. Hopefully they will be done soon, and we'll get our keys to get in there.
Yeah.
But that's going to open up things quite a bit to have a dedicated recording studio for us. So
That's really
maybe I won't
awesome.
have to come as often on the weekends, but I
Oh,
can
there
still
you go.
see that happening anyway.
Right.
Sometimes that's the only option as far as time available for the people, so we make it work. So.
Right, and you've been so flexible over the years, and so a little bit of what you do is you come in, you set up the microphones, help them set up the drum set if they want drum set, record a few times, tell them which take is a good take.
A lot of times when we would come in on the weekends, it was specifically to record drums, because that's usually the thing that takes the most effort and the most time, the most microphones to set up.
Oh, I see.
And sometimes the most takes to get a good take.
Sure.
But yeah, hopefully we'll have that pretty much set up in that room, so we don't have to set up everything from scratch every time. So that was always an issue, is like it would probably take a couple extra hours just the setup part. So
Right,
I'm really looking forward to the idea of just kind of, hey, let's go in there and set up real basic mics on a drum set that's already set up, and kind of get in and out of there hopefully a lot sooner than spending all weekend.
I know, absolutely. And so that's amazing, because I'm very impressed. So the noise, obviously.
Yeah, that's
the
another
noise
thing.
and the smoke sometimes, because I think they're sawing, and
Yeah,
so
they are.
I'm just right around the corner from there, and so we have some of the speech folks going like, "What is all of that?" But I mean, that coupled with the art department also produces,
That is a noisy corner for
it
sure.
is absolutely.
But it's going to work out pretty well that everything is pretty well soundproofed. in that sense,
they
so.
are doing a stunning job.
Yeah.
I kind of peeked in there the other day, and so it's the classroom we're talking about. If you're familiar with the A building, it's a corner classroom right by the art department, and so it shares a wall with the art department. And it used to be a dance studio in the past.
Yeah.
And so they're turning that into a little soundproofed studio. And I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's been amazing so far watching all the progress happen. They pretty much got all the walls up. I think they're pretty much to the point where they're doing finishing now, and they need to get some doors, a few other things, but a lot of all the walls are up, and
Great.
yeah, it looks really awesome. So
That's exciting. That's
we
terrific.
just need to get the window in too. That's
I know, right? There's so many little things.
Yeah.
And then there were changes that were gonna happen to 1201. Is that still?
I think it's still a possibility right now. Originally, we had tried to put in to have 4 rooms, kind of quote unquote soundproofed. For this first go around, we're just doing that one that used to be a dance studio, so 1332. Right. Hopefully, in the future, we'll also expand into 1201 and also our 2 smaller. We call them WAP studios, where 1133 and 1132. Turn those really to get them a little bit more soundproof, because when you could hear singers or other things down the hallway. I mean, a lot of people don't necessarily mind, but it's good that if it was a little bit more soundproof,
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So hopefully that still happens in the future. We're hoping that will. Be something that we can do.
I've taught in that 1131, that classroom. And if there's anything going on in 1132, it's a very thin
can hear
wall.
it, for sure.
That separates the two. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on the construction front, and so they should probably be done by at least by the end of the semester.
I'm hoping by the end of October. That might be
Nice.
a lofty goal, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I want to get students in there before the end of the semester.
Sure.
If not to work on their own projects, maybe at least to give them some workshops on how we can do recordings and stuff. And I think for sure in this next semester when we do part 2, it'll be up and running. And so I think the big fight will be kind of scheduling, because there's, I have about 14 or 15 in each audio engineering class. And so that's about, give or take 30 students fighting over one room, which isn't it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's going to be kind of a real life. You're going to have to schedule your studio time and use it as wisely as possible.
That's right. Exactly.
Try not to mess around and get everything done that you need to do. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. It's and that is real life. That's because any of the studios you call Star City, any of these places, they'll tell you they rent it by the hour.
Yep, they charge by the hour, so you better be ready to get your work done. I mean, we won't be charging by the hour, but I think we'll be reserved by the hour, so it'll be a thing like,
Absolutely.
So
That's
a good
awesome.
real life thing for students to work around,
Oh yes, and let me tell you, I recorded a CD many moons ago. Hello, and I remember that the amount of money that I had to pay up front to the engineer to record, and also the coveted spaces. Yeah. Right. So I lived in Iowa. And this man said, there's a church in the middle of nowhere that's abandoned now. He said, there's no grand piano, but for that unaccompanied piece that you have, it would be perfect. It'd be ideal.
Sounded amazing.
Yes, it was stunning. So churches have that peaked ceiling, right? And everything's wooden inside. And so wood is ideal for sound. Why is that, Daniel?
Well, I mean, most musical instruments are made of wood as well. Well, I shouldn't say most. A lot of strings are. Maybe not
strings and woodwinds, yes.
Woodwinds. There's something about it. And, most speakers, like the cones, are made of paper, too. So it has, acoustic properties that are nice. That's not the only thing. Sometimes to get a nice reverb sound, you do it in a stone room too. That's also a luxury that some places have. But it's definitely wood. Definitely sounds better than drywall, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Drywall has it's not that great of a sound. It's very bright, and there's something about wood that certain types of wood too that have a density.
That's true.
Just like if you're making a guitar, you don't make it out of just any wood. There's certain woods that have a really good tone to them. So that's part of the experience too. So
interesting. And I can tell you from a clarinet standpoint, the problem with clarinet or any woodwind is the water condensation. Right, for lack of saying spit. Hello, that goes in there too. But it's the water condensation is why they have to pick grenadilla. And so grenadilla is that it won't become as warped or crack as much as
it can
maple.
Take more water.
Right.
I understand.
Right, because there are clarinets like there's the Cocobolo ones, which I don't know anybody in El Paso that plays on that.
Pretty expensive though too, right?
Expensive, and they crack here in this climate.
Too dry.
Right. Right, so we have, this isn't a clarinet episode, but it's amazing how I can turn it into one right away. So that's really amazing. And so let me ask you specifics, like in some of these Wenger practice rooms, I remember back in the day, is that there was switches that would change the acoustics.
Well, the switches that are in ours are just a light switch and a fan. There's some ways that you can adapt acoustics. My time, you mentioned Sonic Ranch. I did an internship there for 2 years, and I learned so much under a guy named Charles Godfrey, who's a really great friend, and he's doing awesome. He's out in Austin, and basically part owner of a really awesome studio. Anyway, one of the cool things I noticed is some of the bigger rooms, they have these doors that you could open or close, and so when it was closed, it's wood on the outside. When you open it, it's like a softer material that absorptive, so it's adaptive. You can make the room more live, or you can make it more dead, depending on, changing the acoustics depending on the need. So there is things like that. I wouldn't doubt if Wenger has some kind of material that they can switch on and off, but that's usually the idea, is either it's a softer absorbers material or something like wood that reflects to make it more live.
Interesting. It was, and from what I recall, it was like it would add reverb. It was all about the reverb.
Yeah, that's what I mean too when I say live, is kind of adding more reflections, and usually that's the best with wood, right? Wood or stone.
Right.
Hopefully not drywall, but sometimes you do what you do. But the other end to that is making it more absorptive, or making the room more dead per se, so less reflection. So depending on the application, right? So sometimes you want that natural reverb and sometimes you don't, so it's about controlling the environment, really. Okay.
So we are wrapping up this first episode with you. But I want you all to stay tuned for the next episode with Mr. Becker. We are talking about the music production certificate, the audio engineering degree, and the music business degree. Those two are AAS degrees here at El Paso Community College. So if you want to know more about Mr. Becker and those degrees and everything that Mr. Becker does on the side, stay tuned for the next episode. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.